came here to kill me. Yet I'm prepared to give you his greatest gift. You will be freed. You will serve him. From this moment on, you're no longer a slave to the government. From this moment on, your mind is your own. You're no longer a slave to the government. From this moment on, you will seek vengeance on your oppressors. Freedom is yours.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Jean Pod Van Dam cast. And if this sounds any different, well, it's because it is different. We aren't recording in the studio. We aren't even recording through my phone, through the mic that we have. We're rocking it old school. We got the Blue Yeti set up.
Hell yeah.
And we are doing everything that introductory podcasters do. We're in a big giant room that has nothing up on the wall, so it might be a little bit echoey. The windows are open and we are right by a road too. But there's a reason for that. You see, today we are reviewing Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning 2012 rated R, hour and 54-minute action horror mystery.
Oh, man.
Whew. And if you didn't get the joke by now, well, it's a terrible movie, so we decided to record in terrible settings. Jeff, how you doing, man?
I am well. I'm a little sleepy after that movie, but besides that...
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I almost fell asleep a handful of times.
I had trouble concentrating on the TV screen. I felt like my vision would just divert.
Yep.
I would just start staring at the ceiling because it seemed more interesting to me.
Yep, definitely. So, getting into the plot summary here, John looks to take down Luke Devereaux after a home invasion claims his wife and daughter. The fight pits John against Andrew Scott and an army of genetically enhanced warriors. Meanwhile, he must contend with a Unisoul and relentless pursuit. Okay, that's a lot better. I'm not reading the second one.
That's man,
gigantic.
That's
about as long as the movie.
Hour and 54 minutes of synopsis.
Yeah, and we have Jean-Claude Van Damme reprising his role, Dolph Lundgren. Same.
Almost for all of 10 minutes.
Yeah, man, it's not even a Van Damme film, really. Scott Adkins plays John. Maria Bonner plays Sarah. Andrei Arlovsky plays Magnus.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically it. There's some other roles in here as well, but
don't forget
we have Chris Van Damme who plays Miles again.
Yep.
And
there's Dolph. Can't forget Dolph.
Oh yeah, no, Dolph reprised his Andrew Scott.
Oh yeah, you already said Derp.
But director was John Hyams, writers John Hyams and Doug Magnuson and others. Which is kind of weird because didn't John Hyams direct the other one too? Yes,
I think so.
He did.
And yet I don't know if he's trying to build up a portfolio of different styles of film or something, because this one entirely different from the previous one.
Yeah, man.
The only thing it really has in common with it is that it's very dark in tone.
Yeah, I'm looking through John Hyams. Usually we don't read director's credits. Sometimes we do. Kind of back in the day we did with some of them. He did direct 9 episodes of Z Nation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I actually enjoy that show.
Me too. So I'll give it to him then. But it was 9 episodes, so not enough. Dragon Eyes, which is another Van Damme film that we'll be reviewing very soon.
Oh, damn.
And now I'm kind of sad because of that, too. I was like, oh. He did I thought it was a documentary, actually. It is, The Smashing Machine, which it followed MMA star Mark Kerr. So, yeah, I'm not looking forward to Dragon Eyes or whatever, if this is how it's going to go. The Smashing Machine got rave reviews for what it was. I really kind of was one of the first MMA documentaries, and it brought to light a lot that was going on in the world of MMA. So, I don't know. Good on him, but man, whatever. So the tagline for this is under their own command. Which, I mean, that's a good tagline for this movie.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad... Yeah, it works really well for the movie, actually, and it's a good tagline in general.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of them, which were a paragraph.
Yeah, a lot, yep. Yeah.
Or just something really vague.
Yeah. I'll give that to him, but... Getting into this, man, I took a lot of notes for a lot of nonsense. So this was probably going to be the episode where I have to do a lot of editing.
This movie makes no sense for the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, man.
Like there's... You're not exactly sure where they're going with it at all. It has a really vague, like, connect the dots, noirish crime drama feel to it at first. And then it slowly gets more and more boring and bizarre. And it has this ambient music, like this droning music that lulls you to sleep, and not at all fitting for an action film, which this isn't. This is not an action film.
No, man.
It's a crime thriller that's occasionally punctuated by an extremely violent fight scene or murder scene. Like it seems more like a horror movie than an actual action movie.
Right. No, you're totally right there. Not to mention that John's voice is so soothing in it. That, like, I seriously was falling asleep anytime that he spoke.
Yeah,
like okay.
I don't really remember him yelling or
no.
Really. At the very beginning, which is another extremely gruesome scene in itself, there was some yelling.
Dude. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty much it in the beginning, and we'll just get into that. We open up, there's with like this heartbeat, and we're looking straight at a woman sleeping. A kid shouting for her father, "Daddy, Daddy," and we're getting the first person view of some guy, and it's not Van Damme. At first I thought it was Van Damme, just because I was like listening, and when I first started the movie, everyone else in my house was sleeping, so I couldn't keep the volume, high. So I had no clue what was going on so much. And I found out, nope, that's not Van Damme. She says, "There's monsters in the kitchen." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Goes through the house, no monsters, no. She's like, "In the kitchen, there's monsters in the kitchen." He opens the door to the kitchen. There's 3 dudes standing there. They got the ski masks on. One's got a crowbar. And they just beat him up, and it's a gnarly looking scene. Yeah,
they had to have hit him like square in the face with a crowbar like 10 times.
Seriously.
I'm like, there's no way a human being would be alive being hit in the face that many times with a crowbar.
Nope, not at all. I mean, he got destroyed. They broke like a mirror. He looks into the mirror, and it's like his face is just shattered.
Yeah, it's just pulp.
It's nasty. They grab the wife and the kid. The guy removes his mask. It's a bald Van Damme.
He looks
so weird.
He looks so bizarre.
So weird. How did you feel about that?
Shocked, confused. I won't say betrayed, but just like my whole world was turned upside down because of how different he looks.
I know.
Like, it's not just like a really short haircut like he's had in the past. No, it's literally bicked. Like,
bicked, and it's
nared, the whole 9 yards.
So weird. He kind of, like, in a weird way, it looks like Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, it was so weird. It wasn't Van Damme at all. He didn't look bad, but he did not look like Van Damme.
No, he looked strange.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, very strange how different something, especially since he's been in movies with like a buzz cut too,
right, I know,
and it's easily recognizable. I literally, it took me a moment to recognize him.
Yeah, exactly. Like the only time I could tell was him with the mask was his eyes. And I go, oh, okay, that's Van Damme.
Yep.
But then I took it off and I'm like, wait, that's not Van Damme. It is Van Damme. Oh my gosh. So what ends up happening? Shoots the wife right in the head.
Right in front of the kid.
And then he shoots the kid. We don't get to see the kid die, but because the camera kind of pulls a little, but oh, dude, it's bad.
Yeah, it's extremely... Oh, crap.
keeping that in.
You should.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie. Usually, when it comes to kids, children in films being killed, they really don't do that. They tend to look away from that kind of stuff. But this one was like,
oh no,
nope, we're gonna do it.
Definitely had a Eli Roth vibe going on. I'm not a fan of movies like that at all. So this movie already was not off to a good start with me. Yeah,
checking it in the wrong column.
Yeah.
So the scene switches over with this guy. We still don't know his name. He wakes up in the hospital. He has a little bit of disgusting looking bile on the side of his face.
That was
there.
Very strange looking fluid coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on, if this was all a dream to him or what. The docs are all looking at him, but he doesn't look so beaten up anymore. And then it switches over to a lady trying to feed him, give him something to drink. The doctor comes in and it's like, John, I'm Dr. Timothy Brayton. And we find out he's been in comatose for the past 9 months. And an agent from the FBI comes in, wants some questions with him. He's nodding about remembering the whole incident, everything. The FBI agent's like, your wife and daughter didn't survive. I'm sorry. And it's like, hey, you just came out of a coma. Do you know what happened?
Yeah. So, we wanted to ask you while it was still fresh in your memory.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. You know, I didn't just stay out of it for 9 months over traumatic incidents, and now you're bringing up the fact that my wife and child are no longer living. He shows him a photo of Van Damme. It's Luke Devereaux, and they're like, hey, his prints were all over the place. We know it's this guy. Let us know, basically. Next up, we have Andre as a plumber, and he's trying to fix a leak from a woman, an older lady who's talking, and she says something like, it's still leaking, and this ends up giving him like some hiccup in his mind, and he's just like, what? He comes out from underneath the sink, throws up in the sink, and then leaves. And she's like, what? Did you notice the number on his truck, by the way?
Was it like 555 truck or something like that?
Almost. 555 pipe.
Pipe?
Yeah, I liked that little detail.
Oh, yeah.
So now we see John walking with a cane. Looks like he's being released. He's given his things, the typical, puts his ring back on, grabs his wallet and keys, and he has this hemp bracelet with Daddy spelled on it, and he immediately has a flashback of his daughter giving it to him. So now he's back in the house, and he sees that his faucet is dripping and has a flashback. Everything's starting to set him off. And all I could think about was how much that water bill was.
Oh, shit, 9 months?
Of a dripping water faucet. He's having flashbacks basically every room he goes into. He has a gnarly one with his daughter talking to him with a hole in her head. And I was like, ooh, that one's pretty bad. Next up, we're in a brothel, which is very graphic. Not in the sense of violence, we'll get to that soon, but in the sense of sex.
Sex and violence. A lot of very kinky stuff going on.
Some kinky stuff going on. There's one scene, this girl is hammering a nail into this dude's hand. And then we see Dolph, who's in like the back room doing his thing. And this guy walks in. It's Andrei Orlovsky. And he shoots the old lady in the head that was at the counter. And
it had like there was a suppressor on the gun.
I was going to say, I was going to bring this up. I had it in my notes. Yes, there was a silencer on the gun, but it sounded more like what a silencer on a gun would sound like than what it sounds like in the movies.
Yeah, it was just go, pew.
Yeah, we did not hear the pew. We heard like, oh hey, it's a suppressed gunshot.
Yeah.
So I was pretty surprised about that. I was like, whoa, what attention to detail on that one.
On that particular part of the movie.
Or was it like I think a happy accident?
Yeah, they might have just used a regular gunshot, like, sound
I was going to say, it was like the Foley artist, like,
Yeah. I don't want to have to go pew into a mic.
Nope. These dudes and ladies are getting blasted by him.
I
mean, there was some great makeup and violence, like I don't know how they did that with some of the scenes, getting shot bare-chested and the blood flying everywhere.
A whole lot of squibs.
Oh, a whole lot of squibs, man. And we not only do we see some titties, you also see a wiener.
Yep.
Big
floppy wiener.
Big floppy wiener flopping around, getting shot at. One dude gets his head totally blown off.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. Like, he just blows everyone away with a shotgun.
Yes.
And people are just running out one at a time.
Yep.
Down the hallway.
Yep.
Classic. Another horror movie trope right there.
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah, the dude who was getting his hand hammered, he pulls it off, breaks like the board with it, and just comes swinging out on him. Oh, it was so funny. And then Dolph and Andre start going at it until Dolph is like talking to him while they're fighting. You will be freed.
Yep.
You will serve him. And then he stabs him in the neck with a needle.
And then...
You will seek vengeance on your oppressors.
Then they have a strobe light go off.
If you...
For like 45 seconds nonstop.
I know, man.
Hyper-fast strobing.
If you are epileptic, don't watch this.
Yeah, don't watch the movie unless you want to sue them. Then
Yes. Yeah, because this not only happens once, this happens twice. But this strobe light effect goes crazy. And it ends up showing Van Damme in front of him. And Van Damme's talking. He's like, we are brothers. We are one. And all I can think of is I'm about to be sick. And then we see this crazy ass like sickle question mark symbol up on the wall. I what would you explain that? It was like a shepherd's cane almost.
Yeah.
But then it had two crosses through it, like an equal sign through it. So,
yeah, and it was at like a 45-degree
and it was
angle.
yep. Yeah.
It was really strange.
Really strange what they decided to do with that. Hopefully we see it in trivia, something with that.
Mm-hmm.
So the next scene, guy eating at a countertop. Oh, it's John. His phone goes off, and I could not hear a word that the guy was talking to him on the phone. I just knew it sounded urgent, and
I had the subtitles on. I couldn't hear him either. He said something on having information, and he thinks he was being followed, and he was scared.
Oh, yeah. So that makes sense. I knew he wanted John to go meet him up, so John does that. And I thought it was funny because the truck pulls up right in front, and I'm like, obviously Ford didn't want to sponsor this because the logo was ripped off of it. Didn't get that famous blue logo right there.
Can't say I blame him.
Yeah. So he gets to the apartment. The door's open. Everything's ransacked. There looks to be blood on the walls. Yep, it was. Bloody handprints everywhere. We get to the bedroom. John's about to puke when he looks over to the side of the bed. This dude's face is destroyed. It was bad. He picks up a photo with looked like two scientists were on it. And it was broken, like the frame was broken.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, at first I was like, oh, is that supposed to be like Miles?
That's what I thought at first too,
son?
yeah.
But that's nothing else came of that right there. And then we see a matchbook for Violet's Cabaret. So, for whatever reason now, he has a recorder that he's listening to in the car of this guy's notes or whatever. Yeah. And it's like trying to expose the Unisol program or something.
Yeah, this movie only has really vague connections to the previous one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, honestly, it's really weird. I had to note that this movie was competing for most nude scenes because at this... Basically, this they call Cabaret a strip club. Yeah, it was just nude women everywhere, and I was really surprised. They had a lot of small-breasted women there too. It wasn't all just fake tits. It was actually a very diverse in the nudity. So I give it to him there.
Hell yeah!
And you see that he's entranced with Fantasia, the dancer. We don't know who she is or what. But then I was like, hey, is that the girl from Soldiers, the movie that we were supposed to review but never came out? And I think it was.
Was it? I knew she looked familiar.
I haven't checked it on IMDb yet, but the way she says stuff, I was like, that sounds exactly like her in the Soldiers movie, in the trailer anyway. And then we get a line in this film that was so weird and out of place and funny in the way it was delivered. And I'm going to quote it, and it's offensive, but here it is.
I know what you're talking about.
Get your fucking hands off her, faggot. So...
I was left to,
I'm like,
left to think for a moment.
Yeah. The dude is in the strip club. John's trying to get her to talk with him. He's willing to pay her money. He's staring at her. Why would you call him a bundle of sticks?
That was a puzzler.
Yeah, that one really...
Just layers upon layers of confusion this movie is heaping at you at any given moment.
I really had to stop there and just go, wow. And for him to say that line not in the 80s when, you can just blame it on, that's what they used to say.
Yep.
Like, no, this happened in the late 2000s. And I'm thinking,
Well, he was a yokel, so maybe they're just trying to make him more unlikable.
That's what I was thinking too. I don't know. So he goes into the bathroom, and the bathroom was cracked me up too. I mean, it was just awkward, like spray paint, nudie mags all plastered everywhere. And then Andre throws him a towel and then stabs him with a needle. And John's just looking at him. We get that same strobe light effect. I'm about to puke.
It was intense.
Seizure time. Van Damme appears. John is about to attack Andre when he sees the flashback. Notices, hey, this is Van Damme. He's the one who killed my family. And then the bouncers just grab him up and tell him, stay the fuck out. And there's like 20 dudes that are just looking at him. And something's up, but you're like thinking, okay, that was overkill. But we realize why later on.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasia is walking back to her place when John grabs her and tells her to calm the fuck down. Right when she's about to get calmed down, Andre bursts through with an axe and destroys the place. That is some of the best axe choreography I've seen in quite some time.
I am so confused as to why he injected him with the syringe to recruit him.
I guess so.
And then I tried to kill him with the axe.
I don't know.
Did they explain why, or were they just we're overdue?
Because the recruiting didn't take hold.
Is that what happened?
That's the only thing I could think of was he didn't do what all the rest of us did.
Yeah, it didn't work.
All I thought was, I hope she has good renter's insurance.
A lot of IKEA furniture getting busted up in that.
Just destroyed.
They destroyed at least 8 end tables.
Oh, man. And then Andre cuts off John's 3 fingers.
Yep.
Oh, it was gnarly. I swear, I think we've said gnarly 5 times already. This movie just kept making me think, oh, gnarly. I haven't heard that word in forever.
It is, though. It's gruesome.
Brought it out, man.
The fight scenes in this compared to there's been more over-the-top gore in Jean-Claude Van Damme films, much more, literally people exploding to bits.
Yeah.
But this has a really gruesome horror movie vibe to it where people get their extremities horribly damaged and they're attacked while they're naked. And...
It was History of Violence.
Yeah, because it would be a lot of nothing going on. Not that History of Violence had nothing going on, but it was all of a sudden it would just be punctuated with really graphic violence.
Yep. Yeah. But History of Violence actually worked, whereas this movie doesn't.
Yeah,
so.
This is what, History of Violence is what this movie was going for.
Yeah, definitely. So Fantasia comes in from behind, smashes Andre on the top of the head with the top of the toilet tank, and John grabs the axe and slices off the foot.
Yeah, the front of the right behind the toes.
Yep. Oh, man. Oh, absolutely graphic. Oh.
Yeah, it went right through the boot. It just flies off.
It was so nasty.
And then he doesn't finish him off. He just just runs away.
He runs away. Walks back to some underground bunker. Walks, kind of hobbles. And Dolph is preaching from the pulpit there.
Literally.
Get
yeah.
Titular line. We get the day of reckoning.
They never say Universal Soldier though.
No.
I think wasn't that? Didn't they? They've said it maybe once or twice in the entire.
Yeah. They actually been pretty good. Yeah, it's always been Unisol. They really didn't even say Unisol in this.
No.
I think maybe on the tape recorder when the guy.
Yeah, I think they said
talking.
Unisol program or something like that.
But that was basically it. So I was like, "Whoa, Day of Reckoning! Wow,
yep.
We got a subtitular line." Fantasia asks John if he remembers her, and he's basically no. And she's wrapping up his fingers. apparently he's been with her, and then this is where we get the story. John...
This is about an hour into the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And you're thinking, oh, this movie's about to end soon. Nope.
No, you're
No. So John got into it with some dude and just basically pounding the shit out of the dude. Pretty much killing him, I believe. And the only reason why he did it was because the dude looked at Fantasia. And
she's a stripper, so
yeah,
that's to be expected.
You know, I guess they've been together, he and Fantasia. Kind of like his secret love life. It makes no sense. He doesn't know anything about it, which was also interesting that he wouldn't know anything about this. But it made sense when you saw all those bouncers earlier on. So there you have it, why you had 20 guys telling him to stay the fuck out of there.
Yeah, this whole movie was just so strange. Like, it had elements of, like, Total Recall, Jacob's Ladder.
Yes. It was unique. And, when we get through it, I guess we can discuss it a little bit more.
It was definitely ambitious.
It was ambitious, yes, most definitely. You know what? Let's just kind of take a break from this, because it really, like, if this movie wasn't called Universal Soldier, and maybe if it was 30 minutes shorter, I would actually be like, wow, this was pretty cool.
Yeah, like, and if it had a different score. If the music was entirely different.
Yeah, they need to change the music, definitely. This is one that goes to show why music is such an important factor into film and how it can make or break a film.
This could literally have had no music, and it would have been a better film, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
The music was just...
with the violence and whatnot that happened, having no music would have amped it up a lot.
Well, like in History of Violence.
Yep. Yep. Maybe that's why they were trying not to. I don't want people to think this is History of Violence. Yeah, it was just. I don't know, man. That really.
It had things going for it.
It did.
It wasn't like a poorly made film.
I know.
Like, production wise, it was better than a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme's films, even though this isn't really a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
I know, I wouldn't say it was. I really, like, if you just changed the names of these characters, who knows? We would probably be talking a bit better about it than what it is. If it was just
if we were watching this with no expectations of previous films that don't even tie in very well to this.
Right, well, that's it, exactly. That's the whole thing. The Universal Soldier franchise is basically, hey, let's retcon the previous one.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So really with this, and you know what? We'll finish this up real fast and then get into that too.
Yep.
John's looking in the mirror or whatever, sees a reflection of Van Damme. Van Damme grabs him. His daughter's there. It's really weird. And then it shows Van Damme coming up from behind his daughter and then shooting her, waking John up from sleep. He sees the FBI agent's card on the table and he decides to meet up with them. He's telling the agent that his head's not getting any better, saying that he sees Devereaux in visions. And the agent says something along the lines of, others have seen these same visions, people that have gone after him who have disappeared. And they're thinking it might be like some sort of like telepathic link type thing. That was weird to me.
Yeah.
And he says he like leaves it off as, if you go looking for Devereaux, he'll find you first. And then we switch over, and Andre's got a new foot. Well, the top half, anyway.
Yeah.
It's still looking gross.
Yeah, he's got a weird meaty, like, his toes are, like, still, like, fused and stuff.
Yeah, really weird. And then all of a sudden, a dude grabs, like, his whiskey bottle from him, and they start fighting each other.
Yeah, that was so bizarre.
So bizarre. The whole rest of the underground dudes are going crazy for it. Yeah, fighting. And then, like, the dude gets dropped, and the rest of the guys start stomping him. Like they're going to stomp him to death.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Van Damme comes out of nowhere, fires off a shot. Everyone goes silent, walks over to the dude, shoots him, kills him.
Yeah.
He looks at Andre and then walks away.
What was the point of that scene? Why did you put that in the movie?
There was no point for that being in there.
Just another random punctuation of violence.
Yep. Nothing. It didn't do anything for Van Damme's character except maybe you go, this isn't how Devereaux would act.
Yeah. Like, you really know that he's very different from any of the previous ones. Even, what was the name? Regeneration,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, is this even, like, the same universe? Is this just,
I know.
Is this after Regeneration? Is this after the first one? Is this just a complete reimagining?
That's the thing.
Like, is Dolph Lundgren's character another clone? Because there's apparently clones all over the place, and you can just clone upon clone.
Right. And the thing that I would like to see, which I don't think ever would be done, because who would, in their right mind, confidently take this knowing that it would lose money, is like a comic book series to make up for everything in between. What happened from Universal Soldier to Regeneration to... what was
which one? The second one?
The Return?
The Return, yeah.
The Return and Day of Reckoning, just so we can get some sort of insight. I think we could do it.
I would love that challenge.
But John shows up in a warehouse. He wants to look at his shit. That was him. I'm quoting him there. And the guy, like the manager of the place, is like, hey, that's between you and Mr. Castellano. And they walk into a meat freezer, so I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be another Unisol.
Yep. Yeah, they don't really reference the Unisols like liking
being cold
or overheating easily.
No, not this time around. And this dude looks bad. I mean, bad.
Yeah, he looks like Jigsaw from like...
Yes, that's what I thought too. He looked like Jigsaw from The Punisher.
Yep.
So,
and he had like a really thick mobster, like New York style accent and everything.
Man.
And
the dog is by him is going crazy. So much so it was actually like taking away from the scene in the movie for me. I was like, someone stop that dog. We find out John's the one who beat the shit out of him. Like, he was like, basically what happened to you, he's like, you did it the last time I asked questions. I ain't gonna tell you shit. Look what you did to me. So we find out that Castellano says Van Damme is John's boss, and they've kept an eye up on his buddy Isaac. I think that's what they call him.
Yeah, I believe that was it.
And they show there was a camera in the apartment, and guess who beat up his buddy? Oh, John did. Yep. John was the one who beat him up. And John's like, what? Mr. Castellano is like laughing at him. It's basically like, you're gonna get yours now. I gotta say though, dude, that dude who played Mr. Castellano, I really dug him. Like, I was like, wow. Like,
it was a good performance.
Great performance for being
very
only like 5 minutes.
Out of place with the rest of the film.
Very much so.
Doesn't really play into the rest of the film except for as a placekeeper for the plot to go from point A to point B.
Yep.
Which is this entire thing. This movie is connect the dots. Like, he's just going from place. Oh, now you need to go to this place, and then you need to go to this place.
It was like a bad Memento.
Yeah, it was a lot like Total Recall meets Memento meets Jacob's Ladder.
Yes, definitely, man. And now we have John driving back with Fantasia. All of a sudden, the car gets hit, and it's Andre in his plumber's truck. It's a great car chase. We get a car chase.
We do get a really bitchin' car chase.
Holy crap, man. And this one, it looks like this was all filmed in America, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
it was all American
roads,
vehicles,
Vehicles. It looked like it was someplace in the South somewhere. Great back and forth between the two.
And it wasn't just, they weren't the only two vehicles either. It was very crowded.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of stunt work involved in that.
A lot of stunt work with that one.
A lot of good practical effects in this. Lots of good squib work, like old school stuff that you'd see in movies like Terminator and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
This reminded me a lot of a chase from like Terminator 2.
I know.
There were a lot of elements from Terminator in this.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. So there was also some shotgun action while the car chase is going on. And then they end up crashing, gnarly crash, which, I mean, there's flips, and even the other car looks like it was going to flip, even though I don't think they planned for that.
Yeah.
It looks scary. So then they get out of the car, and Andre tackles John through the glass of a sports equipment store. And all I said was batting practice, because they grab bats and they just go at it.
So many bats. Man. There were at least 3 baseball bats. This was a really good fight scene, dude. This was the best fight scene in the film, I felt.
Oh, dude, definitely. It totally blew my mind with everything that they did. Like, one part, Andre picks up a bowling ball and throws it at John, and John smashes it with his hand.
This is like, apparently his super killer instincts are waking up in the middle of this fight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're starting to see that, okay, if you didn't think before, you now know John is definitely a part of one of these Unisol programs.
He starts like doing, sword, like choreography with the baseball bats,
Yeah,
like there were
yeah.
screama sticks or something.
Had a great use of a 45-pound dumbbell plate.
Yeah, that
Just-
looked nasty.
oh,
He
man.
threw it like Captain America's shield right into his
Yep,
sternum. I was
yep.
like, oh.
It's so, oh gosh.
See, that was all fantastic. It
Yeah,
would have been
man.
like if this movie like was just half an hour shorter and the plot made sense. Then
Yeah.
I would
if
have
it was a
really
better
enjoyed
plot,
it. Yeah,
we would be speaking high praises about this.
definitely.
And then he grand slams Andre's head. Like, just knocks it off, like, halfway through. It was like killing a zombie. I mean, it just, nasty.
He wasn't seen for. Was he seen for the rest of the movie? Was that it?
Nope, that was it
Yeah.
for him. He was done. Donezo. And then they steal some dude's classic Mustang.
I felt so bad for that guy.
Yep. And then we see that his fingers grew back.
Yep. And then you're like,
Okay. Now, if you definitely didn't know, you know now that he's a part of the same Unisol program. So they get to some house, some dude pulls a shotgun on them, and it's John. What?
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
That might explain some of the memories that weren't his.
Exactly. That's exactly
And everyone's
it.
supposed to just be like, oh my goodness. But at
Right.
this point, you could pretty much guess that,
Yep.
you know.
At this point, they're talking back and forth, and I am falling asleep.
Yeah, they don't, like, literally don't even need to explain what they're going for, but they
Nope.
do.
Nope.
It's really obvious at this point. He's a government clone assassin Manchurian candidate that's been sent to kill
Yep.
Jean-Claude Van
Basically,
Damme.
kill Van Damme. That's
And they
it.
spent a good 15 minutes to 20 minutes giving the other failed clone a subplot
Yes.
that nobody cares about.
No point in it whatsoever.
I'm just like, man, this movie's already dragging ass. You could have ended this movie by now.
And at this point, there's still like 37 minutes
yeah.
of the movie left. And
Oh.
you're going, oh God, come on, please. So John decides he wants to kill Fantasia, not the John we know, the other John.
Because
I think it's funny that his name's John.
Yeah.
And she's prostituting herself, so.
I didn't notice that.
He goes to kill her, and somehow it gets blocked, and John shoots himself, basically. So
Yes.
He shoots him.
With another shotgun. Lots of shotgun.
Yeah, a lot of shotgun use in this. Then he's like, tells Fantasia, pull it out. And we're going old school to the first Universal Soldier. He has a tracking device in his neck. She pulls it out, and he drops it. He's like, now you're free. And he gives her the keys, and she just drives off. That's it. That's the end of it.
So what was the
Just-
point of that character, you know?
Nope, exactly. She just drives off. It wasn't like he's in trouble. She comes back to help him.
Nope, never seen again.
Never seen again. That was it.
So, like, we have this half-fleshed out character trying to reach the big climax and catharsis of the film with no real motivation, because he's, like, at this point, he has to realize that, you know, his memories are fabricated, like,
Yeah.
but he never, like, they never really explain why he's still so hell-bent, other than, like, oh, he's a Unisol, he doesn't understand any better, but, like, you're just, I don't know.
I know. That's exactly it. We get that same sickle symbol on the wall again. And then a guy shows up in a boat to take him away.
Yeah, it very slowly
Just
approaches
slowly
in a boat.
approaches.
Takes a good 5 minutes to
Yeah.
dock.
I know, like, that Mr. Castellano scene, they were talking about him basically, like, owning the rivers and John using him to get shipments up and down them or whatnot. So I'm assuming it had to do something with that. The guy shows up. Then all of a sudden, soldiers pop up out of the water and they start leading John into this underground bunker.
/ cult church mecca center.
Yeah, and he's basically led to some medical chair. And I go, oh, hey, there's Chris. We got
Yep.
Miles there. He's with a new doctor. They call him a baby. And I'm like, what? He's like only 3 weeks old. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Now we're starting to understand. He's like, your resistance gives you discomfort. Can you release it? And he's like, no. He talks about his wife and daughter. And they're like, I hate to break it to you, John. There is no wife and daughter. You were created in a lab. You were given free will, and these memories were all created. And he's like, I can release you from that pain. And he's like, but I need that container. Those contain the missing pieces so that they can replicate like everyone else. And I don't know why we needed that line either.
Yeah, it was like this weird MacGuffin they threw in there to make him really important.
Yep. And then they just start drilling in his head.
With a drill press.
Yep, with the drill press. Give him a frontal lobotomy with the drill press.
A big fucking... That's just like selling from a shop or something.
Yep,
you know, like not at all medical equipment.
Yeah. Class. Definitely. And John's like going crazy. He drills the hole in his head, then sticks some medical device into his head to like try to pull out his brain. He's like, "Hey, how about now? How about now?" He's going cross-eyed and whatnot.
Yeah, it was supposed to. I don't know if it was supposed to look hilarious, but
no,
I was dying.
It came off like that. He ends up breaking out and then breaks the dude's leg. This was nasty too, and batters him to death with a weapon. Then he stomps the dude to death. Then he Frankensteiners the dude and punches him to death.
Pretty much the rest of this movie is a fight scene.
And then it is all chaos, very violent. His white tank top is now red with blood. A lot of gun violence. And then we get to the scene with Dolph. So Dolph comes out of nowhere to start fighting him in the armory bunker part.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. Dolph is like talking to him. That's the spirit soldier. Gets a knife through his hand and then a machete through his head. Not as
great.
Good as the Van Damme Dolph fight.
No, but it was good.
It was good.
My favorite part was when he reached for a rocket he reached for like a bazooka in the middle of the fight, like he was going to shoot him with it.
Oh man, I was like, I don't put it past Andrew Scott. That was beautiful.
Oh goodness.
So now we have him with Van Damme. And Van Damme has his head painted half white and half black.
Yeah, he's just gone full like Colonel Kurtz at this point.
It is crazy. Van Damme looks like a sad clown.
He does. He looks so weird.
It's so weird.
They're going for like, the whole Gone Native crazy military turned
Marlon
cult
Brando.
leader. Yeah, they're definitely going Apocalypse Now with it. And to give Van Damme credit, it was really out of his comfort zone for a character portrayal.
Yeah.
And he did his part well.
Oh yeah, he did. He did, man.
For he only had a couple lines too. He
didn't have much to him. And they have a pretty good fight between them. And he's like, basically, I'm going to kill you. He's like, if you believe I killed your family, then I did. And they just start fighting. We get a gross machete basically through the forearm of John.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
so
all
nasty.
the way into the bone.
Pull it out and you see the gaping wound.
I've never seen so many one machete getting knocked out of somebody's hand so many times and then picked up afterwards.
Oh, I know. It was a battle of machete. It was... Van Damme started to look like Vader at some point, too. Like in Return of the Jedi. His forehead's... He's getting bloody, and that had me cracking up, too. Van Damme lets go of the machete, drops his hands to his side, tells John there is no end. There's always another John. And John stabs him and he dies. And all I could think of at this time, because Van Damme looked like a sad clown, was Frank Sinatra singing "Send in the Clowns."
They might as well have played that. I remember the music playing during this big, climactic fight scene was just more mopey, ambient music. And
the music was bad.
The music was horrible, totally forgettable, and taking you out of the mood, droning you to sleep. You might as well have had Byzantine chanting the entire time.
I know, man. Seriously, it was bad. So then there are three dudes standing behind him, and they have their guns just staring at him, and then they bow their heads to him. Next scene shows John meeting up with the FBI guy. The guy basically told us everything about the movie in the 3 minutes that they had together.
Yeah.
That we didn't need the 2 hours of this movie for.
We
pretty much told him, your family's all made up. We put those memories in your head. You were the best. There was one before you who was second best, but then we lost him. And instead of John basically saying, oh yeah, I killed him, he doesn't mention it. He's just like, oh, I'm sure I'll find him, or I'm sure we'll find him.
Yeah.
That was it. Okay. The guy tells him, the FBI agent says, we'll take you in, erase the memories so you can finally be free. And John's like, no, you created me to find the one who killed my family to bring him to death. You killed my family. And he's like, I created them for you to fill the void. And then you killed them. And he shoots the FBI agent in the cheek through the head.
Gigantic
explosion all over the car, all over the
He must
windshield.
have had like horrible hypertension or something. Like very, very high blood pressure.
Yeah, man. Oh, that was nasty.
They just used up all the squibs they had left over.
Yeah, they were like, let's just all pack it into this head and see how it goes. And then another FBI agent, the same clone, comes out of the van, goes into the car, takes off, and the Unisouls grab the dead body, bring it into the van. They drive off. John's driving off, and he has the windshield wiper going back and forth on the blood smear. That was pretty funny. All the meanwhile, he's having memories of his wife pushing his little girl on a swing, and then it ends. That's it.
Yep.
That's the end of Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning, and man.
What a chore.
What a chore.
Labor of love is how I describe watching this movie.
Yeah, definitely. And now it's time for us to get into our ratings. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put this movie?
The fight scenes were really good. Like, really good. Like, right up there with the previous one, its strength was its fight scenes. Everything else about this movie, I mean, it was ambitious, it did some interesting things, but it just didn't work. It didn't work at all.
Yeah, man.
It reached too high. I give it 4. 4 out of 10.
I agree with you. That's what, on my way over here when I was like thinking about it, I was like, what would I give it? It wasn't like Derailed bad, but it wasn't.
Which kind of worked against it in a way too, because Derailed at times was so bad it was entertaining again.
Right? Yeah.
This just had nothing going for it, which is a problem with a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme's later films, is that there's no comedy in them. Like, they don't have any comedic relief to help you see past certain failings in the production process.
Right, yeah. With some of it, you can't even laugh, or sometimes they don't even make fun of themselves, which is really weird because then Van Damme gets into comedy, movies, which we'll see like with Welcome to the Jungle and some of the cameos that he's already portrayed that we've talked about. So really, just really weird.
Very strange.
I guess getting into trivia now, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren had no scenes together.
Yeah. They sure didn't.
Yeah. Even when he's preaching from the pulpit and then Dolph looks up, it switches over and Van Damme's just like staring. According to director John Hyams, the fight between Scott Adkins and Van Damme was designed to be much flashier and more acrobatic, but had to be redesigned when Adkins tore a ligament in his knee prior to filming. Ouch.
That sucks.
Ouch. This film marks the reunion of Scott Adkins, Van Damme, and Dolph Lundgren after The Expendables 2. Andrei Arlovsky plays a Unisoul named Magnus in this movie. In Regeneration, he played a different Unisoul called NGU. Okay, so he's totally a different Unisoul then.
Yeah, okay.
Alright. And Van Damme finally approved the script of the final fight, which he loses and is killed by Scott Adkins the day before principal photography started. In the words of director John Hyams, there was a lot of negotiation around how that's all played out and how he was passing the torch. Okay, getting into quotes.
What quotes? I mean,
I know. Right? There's 3 quotes here. Luke Devereaux, "There is no end, always another, John," which I already quoted. Andrew Scott doing his The Day of Reckoning speech. Mm-hmm. I won't get into it just because it's so long, and I did not mean to spend 53 minutes or so on this already. And then Andrew Scott saying, "From this moment on, you are no longer a slave to the government. From this moment on, your mind is your own. From this moment on, you will seek vengeance from your oppressor. Freedom is yours." So, yeah, that's it. Like we said, I just, the Universal Soldier, an end to the franchise, good, finally. Little disappointed because Luke Devereaux was so written weirdly in this that it made no sense, even when each Universal Soldier basically retconned the one before it. Luke Devereaux had always played the good guy, like the voice of reason, the Unisoul with feeling, and I didn't see any passing of the torch in this case whatsoever.
No.
If Andrei Arlovsky could play a different Unisoul in this, and that's what you were going for, why didn't Van Damme just play a different one? Why did he have to be Devereaux?
I don't know. I mean, like, he wasn't even a villain in this movie, really. I mean, what did they...
Yeah, he didn't really establish himself as a villain.
They defended themselves, but they only went after, other Unisouls that were sent after them, basically.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, if you're taking this as the direct sequel to Regeneration, okay, Van Damme ran off in Russia right after it was all done.
Apparently swam to America.
I guess he swam back to Louisiana, fought some gators, and got to where he was. I don't know, man. Very disappointed in it being a Universal Soldier film. I bet you if Van Damme really wanted to, all he would have to do is do like a director's cut edit on this and just call it Day of Reckoning.
Yeah.
And it would be a lot better. Get rid of that music and we'd be fine with it.
Oh, yeah.
So up next, which is really weird, and I'm not sure because I swore Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning was next when we were talking last time. But apparently they have assassination games before it, so I apologize if we done these out of order, which we also get Van Damme and Scott Adkins again. We're going to see a lot more Scott Adkins in these films, I guess. But yeah, Assassination Games, 2011, and this is looking like it's going to be pretty long too, an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, joy.
Yep. So there you have it, folks. That's it. We hope you enjoyed that. My apologies if the sound isn't what you're expected to. We've had some hiccups, unfortunately, but...
bad case of the hiccups.
Yeah, very bad case, and I can't remember where they came from. But anyway, we hope you enjoyed this. Please rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcatcher. We also have a link with Amazon. Go to podrose.com, scroll down, hit the Amazon button. If you're shopping on Amazon, it helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything. If you really love what we do and you love the network with all these great shows on it, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/podbros. That's about it. I am John.
And I am Jeff.
And you have been listening to another episode of the Jean Pod Van Damcast. Now we're going to go fight our oppressors.